Yes, this is one of these videos. It's going to be one of these videos that, I don't know, might cause some controversy in a way because I'm about to do something that isn't going to be particularly popular with a bunch of people, but you know what? Sometimes, at least in my mind, you have to do the right thing, regardless if it's popular or not. So yeah, and what is that? As the title says, I'm defending Gamestop. Yes, defending Gamestop. Not exactly a popular thing to do, but has to be done. At least in this instance. So, the origins of this video have come from basically two things that have recently happened that has basically caused a lot of uproar in the gaming community. And what are those two things? These two things are that GameStop is going to eventually be issuing a credit card in the future, and the other thing is apparently in the Philadelphia area, apparently you will be fingerprinted at certain GameStop locations. I don't know if it's for all of Philadelphia, maybe certain stores in Philadelphia, I don't know. And people are worried about that it's going to become widespread and it's going to be everywhere, so to speak. So, in order to not make this as long as it might be, I'm going to try and go through this as quickly as possible. So anyway, let's start with the credit card situation. I'm sorry, I really have no clue what the big deal is. I really don't. Most major retail chains have their own credit card option. And you can buy that credit card option if you choose to. Yet, there's only an uproar from when GameStop does it. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now, I can understand that it's going to be another one of those things that GameStop employees are going to try and sell you on. Like they always try to sell you on the membership, Power Up Rewards membership. They're constantly telling you to pre-order games and all that yada yada yada. I can't really fault them for that though because, first off, management tells the employees to do that. It's not the employee that they want to do it, that they want to annoy you with that stuff, is that management tells them to do that. So I'm not going to fault the employee for that. And secondly, I can't really fault them as a business for doing that either because it's business 101. That's how they make their money. You have to promote the stuff that makes your business money because that is why you're in business in the first place, is to make money. And, you know, I've been shopping at GameStop and other various retail chains for many, many years now, and I don't let that stuff bother me. If I don't want something, I just say no. It's just that simple. To just say no. I'm sure you've heard that term before for drug-related ads and stuff like that. Just say no. If you just say no, they will stop. And hell, if you happen to frequent a certain GameStops and you get to know the people that work there and they get to know you, they won't ask you about it. At least in my instance, I've grown to know the employees and the manager that works at the store I go to. So whenever I go in there and talk games with them, and if I want to get something, they don't bother me with that stuff. Because they know me, they know what I like, they know what I want, and they don't bother me with that stuff. But once again, even if they did, I understand it's part of the procedure, and I don't let that stuff bother me, I just say no. It's as simple as that. And another thing about the credit card situation is you don't have to open a credit card with them. You don't have to do it. They're not forcing you to do it. It's just an option if you choose to do it. And you know what? If somebody were to say open a credit card with GameStop, and that, was it the 27% interest rate eventually kicks in, well, that's not GameStop's fault. That's the person's fault for not being able to pay it off. GameStop's, I don't see how they're at fault for that. I don't see how they're at fault for really offering a choice out there. Because I can't really fault any place of business for offering a credit card as a choice if you want to pursue that route. So, I don't see what the big deal is. I really don't. So, anyway. The next thing, or the next problem, so to speak, that's really causing an uproar is the fingerprinting situation. Because apparently, there's been a lot of, I guess, robberies and incidents from GameStops in the Philadelphia area that they've instituted this procedure where you have to be fingerprinted, I guess, to just buy anything in the store. Okay, well, first off, if this actually does, in the end, stop rampant crime, then I have to applaud it. Because you know what? I'm all for stopping crime. I'm all for stopping people getting hurt in robberies. And if this helps with that, then you know what? Great. And I don't see how being fingerprinted is any different from having them check your ID. Fingerprinting is another form of identification. So when you go to buy something and they ask for your ID, how's that any different? There really isn't a difference. Now, I'm sure some people, when they get fingerprinted and stuff like that, they feel offended. Like, why am I being fingerprinted? Like, I'm sure certain minorities might feel offended from that. But as far as I know, this process is for everybody. It's for every race. It's for every sex. It's for everybody as far as I can tell from reading about this. So I don't see how anybody can be truly offended. Now, if you go to a certain store and the person in front of you doesn't get fingerprinted, but yet you do, then yeah, in that particular instance, I would feel offended. But from what I'm reading about this procedure, it's for everybody. So I really don't see what the big deal is. I don't. I mean, if someone would like to let me know what the big deal is, that'd be great. Because I'm all for discussion. I'm all for discussion, but I don't see what the big deal is. But anyway. And once again, these are procedures that happen at other retail stores and other stores in general, like pawn shops. Yet they don't get nowhere near criticized as GameStop is. Actually, some don't even get criticized at all. So why does GameStop get criticized and these other places don't? It's really puzzling to me. The only thing I can think of is that it's become this sort of, I guess, talking point is that GameStop is this evil corporation, this evil entity, this evil business that just hates gamers, wants to rip their souls out and take them for all they're worth. Now, I used to work in GameStop many, many years ago. And while I will agree, the corporate part of GameStop when it comes to employees is not the greatest. I will firmly admit that. I will firmly admit and freely admit that. It's not the greatest at all. They barely pay their employees. Even managers barely get paid, and they overwork them a lot. And they don't get nowhere near as much as they deserve in pay for the amount of hours that they put into that place. Because I've known a few managers at the store that I go to. And it's just crazy, and I feel bad for them. I really do. That they work so much more than, say, someone like me, and I eventually end up getting paid more, and I work less than they do. It's stuff like that isn't really right. So when it comes to that part of GameStop, I will agree with people. But when it comes to customers in GameStop, I'm sorry. This is probably where the controversial part's going to be. I don't agree with that. From what I've seen and from what I've dealt with, GameStop is probably one of the best places that have the best policies when it comes to the actual customer. I know that probably sounds crazy. That probably sounds crazy. Because and the main thing people think it's crazy is because mostly due to trading credit that you get for certain games. I mean, that's where this all really boils down to, because I constantly see it in comments all over the internet. I don't know why you would trade your games there. I mean, just use eBay. Just go here and do it here. Don't do it there because they try to take your money. Now, does GameStop, in a sense, rip you off for your money? In a sense, yeah, they do, because you don't get nowhere near as much back as what the game is worth. Here's what a lot of people don't seem to understand, though, is that is business 101. The goal of a business is to make money, is to make a profit. And how do you make a profit? You sell the product for more than it's actually worth. I know that probably sounds crazy to you, but that's how businesses stay in business. That's how they make their profit. I mean, I'm sure that doesn't sound great when it comes to what you're getting back, but that's how the business stays in business. And it's not just GameStop. It's every single business. I mean, has there been a problem lately when it comes to businesses trying to make money? Is there a problem with a business trying to stay in business? I don't see what the problem is, really. And there's also a lot of factors that people don't seem to understand when it comes to the actual game's worth at GameStop. See, they also factor in not just what the game is selling for there. They also factor in things like what the actual demand for the game is. Like, for example, this is an example that just recently happened to me when I traded a bunch of games. I got $11.20 for Knack. Now, I bought Knack on launch for $60. I did. It's probably something I really regret now when I think about it. The funny thing is, I actually wrote a review of it for the website I write for 30 Polygons. Hopefully that review gets posted up eventually. That'll tell you all about that game. But anyway, bought it for $60 on launch, and I eventually traded it in, and I got $11.20. Now you're probably thinking right now, man, you got really ripped off there. You paid $60 for that game, and you're only getting $11.20 back. Yeah, here's the thing though. Games dropped in value by a lot at that point. I think the game is selling at GameStop for, I think, $30 or $35 now. Give or take. So in essence, I didn't even get back 50%. I know that sounds pretty bad. But you also have to factor in the actual demand for the game. Is there a high demand for Knack? Is there? Hell no. There is no demand for that game whatsoever. Even official PlayStation magazines are rating the game low. So in essence, why would they give you above 50% for a game that is not even in remote high demand? That is why I only got back what I did. And you know, I'm sorry. I understand that. I understand that completely. And you know what? It's sometimes it may not seem like it is fair. But at the same time, that's how business works. You go out in the world, go to any business, that is how they work. If they sell you a product, chances are they bought that product to sell to you at a much lower value than they're actually selling it to you, because that's how they make their profit. GameStop is no different, but yet they're the devil and other businesses aren't. I don't understand. And another thing that I really don't understand about is people keep making this And they keep making this eBay comparison. I see eBay more than any other place. Like, you should just sell your game on eBay instead. You will make a lot more money that way. Now, first off, if you bought a game for $60 and you just sold it on eBay for less than that, you didn't make any money. You didn't make a profit at all. So no, even though you got back more money than, say, you would have if you would have traded in a GameStop, either way, you didn't make any money from that because you didn't make a profit. So I'd like to point that out. But another thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration is not many people, at least as far as I know, are going to buy current games on eBay. Simply because when you buy something on eBay, unless you're buying something from an authorized retailer from eBay, you're not getting a safety net. What do I mean by safety net? I will tell you what I mean by that. Because GameStop has a great safety net for customers when it comes to buying used games. Here's an example. Say you bought a game on eBay from just some random person. You bought it. It gets shipped to your house. Open the game up. Put the game in. Play it for a few days. Then it just stops working. For whatever reason, it just stops working. Whether there's a certain scratch on the disc at that point in the game that it just doesn't work. Whatever the reason, it just stops working. Guess what? You're screwed. You're not getting your money back from that person. You can't return the game to that person. That person's long gone with your money. You are now stuck with a game that doesn't work. Yet, if you buy a used game from GameStop, you have 30 days to return a defective game for a full refund. There aren't many places out there that will do that for video games. For example, most retailers, as soon as you open the game, if you buy a new game, and as soon as you open it, you're done. That's it. The company that you bought it, let's say the retailer you bought it from, now holds no responsibility for what happens with that game. None whatsoever. There's no safety net there. Yet, with GameStop, you have that safety net if the game ends up being defective. Because that's one of the complaints I hear, is that I'm afraid of buying a used game and it ends up not working. Or the disc comes back damaged. Okay, but with GameStop, you got that safety net. That's why I never worry about buying a used game from GameStop, because I know I have that safety net. And that's why I never buy a used game from eBay. The only games I honestly buy from eBay are games I can't really find out there in stores. Like rare games. Like older games. Maybe certain collector's editions that are no longer in stores. Stuff like that. That's really the only stuff I buy from eBay. I would never buy a newer game from a person on eBay. I really wouldn't. Because of that reason alone. Like, here's an example. My brother recently, my older brother, just got a PlayStation 4 last week. And he got it from a guy from Craigslist, and the guy was offering from a sweet deal. A sweet deal. The PlayStation 4, a gaming headset, and MLB 14 the show. Is it 14 or 15? I don't know. The newest MLB game, the show, on PS4, for $300. Pretty kick-ass deal. Pretty kick-ass deal. But, what if MLB, for whatever reason, didn't work? He's now stuck with a game that doesn't work. The guy's long gone with his money. There's no money back guarantees. There's no safety net. Yet, with GameStop, you have that safety net. So, I mean, I don't know how else I can really explain that. That's a very customer-friendly policy, as far as I'm concerned. For a company that supposedly hates the customers, that's a pretty customer-friendly policy. And let me go into the other customer-friendly policy that is actually very abusive. And I'm surprised they actually do this. If you buy a used game at GameStop, for whatever reason, as long as you have the receipt, you can return that game to them for a full refund. If you paid that game in cash, you get a full cash refund. If you paid that game with a credit or a debit card, you get a gift card back for a full refund. No questions asked. There's, for any reason you would like to return it, you get a full refund within 7 days as long as you have the receipt. That is an insanely abusive policy right there. And I will explain that because I'm perfectly honest with you guys. I've abused that policy many times. I would buy a game, quickly get as many trophies or achievements as I possibly can, and I'd return it within 7 days and get my money back. So in essence, I just got it for free. In essence. I've done it many, many times. I'm surprised GameStop actually has that policy, because that is extremely abusive. Like, for example, let's say there's a newer game on the market, and you're not really sure about it. Like, you don't want to go out and buy a game you might not end up liking. Simple. Wait for a used copy, buy it. If you don't like the game, you have 7 days to return it for a full refund. You can't get that at any other retailer because as soon as you open the game, that's it. You're stuck with it. You were stuck with it. And once again, if you're worried about the disc being damaged on a used game, you got 30 days to return that. So, yeah. I'm surprised GameStop actually has that policy because it is insanely abusive. And once again, that sounds pretty customer friendly to me. For a company that supposedly hates its customers and is the devil, that is very customer friendly. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not here trying to shill for them. I don't work for them. It's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that I just don't see why GameStop constantly gets bashed and treated like the devil when other retailers do the same thing and they don't have customer-friendly support when it comes to certain things. Like, there's no safety nets that GameStop actually provides that other places don't. And the two issues that I mentioned earlier, I mean, I just don't see what the big deal is. If you would like to tell me what the big deal is, I'm more than happy to hear what anybody has to say because I'm open to a discussion. Always open to a discussion. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. So just let me know what you think, and I will talk to you all next time. Have a good one.